It's your boy LFC Plavi, and it's been a while since the last time I made a video about Liverpool. We had no match reaction after the Chelsea game. It is Wednesday, May the 13th. So it's been about, say, 3-4 days after Liverpool's game against Chelsea. And by now, we all know how that game went. And I decided not to really make a match reaction because it was going to be the same old stuff that I've been saying throughout the season. It would have been the same old stuff that I would talk about as I've been saying in the last few weeks and months. So I thought it would be better to give people a break, because looking at how things are going for Liverpool, how the manager is speaking, the kind of football that we are seeing, the boos that we're hearing at the end of games and all that, I thought everybody needs a break from Liverpool, including I myself, who speaks about the team and speaks about the games on a regular basis. I thought at this point, nobody really wants to hear anything about Liverpool. Maybe a few people want to, but not that much, because I myself haven't really enjoyed listening to people talk about Liverpool recently, especially after the game against Chelsea. I haven't enjoyed listening to what anybody has to say, because I'm just not interested anymore in terms of the season. I think I've already checked out the season and I can't wait for next season to begin. But the problem with looking forward to next season is that if this manager stays, if Arne Slot stays, I don't think there's going to be a massive improvement. There might be a slight improvement, but I don't see a big improvement. No matter what players we bring in, I still don't see how Liverpool is going to massively be transformed from the way we are playing right now, the mentality of the players, the tactical approach to the game. I don't see how all that changes in preseason and at the beginning of next season and into the season after the World Cup. So I really don't see how there's going to be a massive improvement. If anything at all, I think that if Arne Slot is being allowed to stay, then what the owners are trying to do is that they are doing something very similar to what Arsenal have done with Arteta. So it's going to take maybe 2 more seasons before we see any sort of improvement in this Liverpool team. It is a complete rebuild, and for me, if they are going to stay with Arne Slot, then it would be an error for them to sack him next season when things don't start on the right foot. If the season doesn't start well, I think they should still stick with him. If they are going to sack him, then it has to be at the end of the season. He shouldn't be allowed to stay in the job beginning of next season. But if they are going to keep him for the beginning of next season, then I think that he should be allowed to continue throughout the whole season, no matter what. Because if they think that is their guy, then what it means is that Liverpool are willing to accept 2 or 3 years of not challenging for anything, not winning anything, and just going through the motions and trying to improve, trying to keep the consistency in terms of the manager. They don't want any instability. That is why they are trying to keep Arne Slot. And they don't find anybody who is more suited to coaching this Liverpool team than Arne Slot. And if that is the case, then I think that even if next season doesn't begin very well, it doesn't begin with any sort of improvement from what we've seen this season, then they should still stick with him, because Arsenal did stick with Arteta for 3 seasons of nothing. 3 seasons of atrocious football, underperformance, nothing to write home about. And in the 4th season, things started going well. So maybe that is how they want to do things. And we've seen a lot of comparison between the performance of this manager this season, not last season, and that of Brendan Rodgers after the 2012-13 season where we nearly won the league. So there are a lot of similarities. And the fact that they sacked Brendan Rodgers, they gave him the next full season and sacked him in the middle of the 2014-15 season or the 2015-16 season is something that I'm worried about. That if they are to give this manager the opportunity to turn things around next season, and at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season they realize that things are not going the way they expect and they sack him, it would be massive waste of time of both the players and the fans, and that is going to lead to them having to get things right, absolutely right. They would need to get everything absolutely right when they do that, because that is going to lead to a lot of instability in the club. Because you would have bought players with the understanding that Arne Slot is going to stay, so you would have bought players to suit his system. The players would have been sort of used to his style of play, and they would have to adjust in the middle of the season to another manager and the demands of another manager. And you might have to sell a whole lot of players who this manager brought in or who were brought in because of this manager's style of play. We would have to get rid of them, and that would be a lot of turmoil, a lot of churn over a very short period of time. So for me, I think that if they are going to give Arne Slot the job, I have no problem with that. What it means is that next season I would have very limited expectation as to what the team can achieve, because I don't see Arne Slot massively improving the squad next season. Beyond next season, that is a different ball game. That is a different story. But next season, based on what I'm seeing towards the end of this season, I don't see how Arne Slot is going to massively improve the squad. Is going to massively improve the results and the performance that we keep seeing, the mentality of the game, the fight and the grit that we see, even at Anfield on our home turf. The disconnect between the team and the fans, I don't see that improving next season. Maybe that is going to change after next season, because I think we, at that time, after next season, we would have changed our expectations about how the team should play, how the team should look like. We would have changed our expectations from Klopp's style to Slot style, and we would accept that this is how this manager plays. And because he hasn't been sacked, there is nothing we can do about it. We would accept it and try to move on, and now change our expectations to suit what the current team is doing. So that is how I see things. Now we have 2 games remaining. We play against Aston Villa in our next game, and the last game of the season is against which team? Let me see, who are we playing our last game against? So let me go to Fort Mob to check who we are playing against on the last day of the season. So I'm sure the last day of the season will be an away game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we play Aston Villa on Friday, and then on the last day of the season, May 24th, we play Brentford at home. Okay, so our last game of the season against Brentford is at home, and our next game against Aston Villa is away to Aston Villa. So that is the 2 games that we have left. For in my view, I think Liverpool have qualified for Champions League by finishing either 5th or 4th. I think that would depend on whether we are able to beat Aston Villa in the game on Friday. If we're able to beat them, then I think the 4th place is sealed. But apart from that, even 5th position is going to give us the Champions League. So I'm not really worried about. For me, I think the season has ended. Our season is over. there is nothing to play for. And you can see it from the players. You can see it from the manager. He's already talking about next season. He's already talking about things changing and things looking completely different next season, which is, of course, something that I don't want to hear. What I want to hear is the season, the remaining games, why we didn't play well against Chelsea. And the one thing that you see about this manager, I think he's a little bit like Arteta. He speaks a little bit like Arteta, which I don't like. And it's the fact that he never takes responsibility. He never says that I should have done things better. He always leans on excuses, lack or unluck in the game. He always leans on setbacks going against his teams. And for him, he does everything right. As far as he's concerned, he does everything right. And nothing can be attributed to his mistakes or his tactical approach, what he tells the players, how he trains the team. Nothing can be attributed to that. I saw his post-match conference after the Chelsea game, and he was pushing back on journalists suggesting that, or asking questions about why Liverpool sat back after they got the first goal in that first half against Chelsea. And he was pushing back really, really hard about the fact that he doesn't tell his players to sit back. And I don't really understand why he doesn't see why that is a problem. So even if you don't tell your players to sit back, the fact that they do sit back, the fact that they do get pinned back, they can't keep going after they score the first goal, is a problem. Is it because they are not listening to you? Because you said you are not telling them to sit back. So why are they sitting back? And for me, you don't have to tell them to sit back for them to do that. You don't have to. It is the habits that you build in the training ground. It is the habits, the little details that you give to the players about how to manage the game. That is why they sit back. They sit back because you tell them certain things. There are certain pointers in your training sessions, in your tactical approach, that makes the players think that when we get a first goal, let's control the game. Let's not try and go for the second goal. You tell them certain things. And this manager hasn't accepted the responsibility so far this season. He hasn't. He has always leaned on mitigations. And for me, the mitigations are there. And it is true that Liverpool have suffered certain setbacks. But the setbacks shouldn't have resulted in a lack of mentality. It shouldn't have resulted in a poor tactical approach, in an approach where Liverpool can't progress the ball, Liverpool can't create enough chances, and they can't defend to save their own lives. That shouldn't happen, even if we have multiple setbacks. And for me, all that is tactical. And I think this manager is a type of manager who relies on individual brilliance of the players and the personal desire of the players to try and go all out themselves. He can't really do anything to motivate them. He's not a big personality in the dressing room. Players don't feel like they want to die for the manager or they want to die for the club because of the manager. He's not that kind of person. And I think that is the reason why I have always said that he should be sacked, because this Liverpool team right now, the where we find ourselves, we need that kind of manager who would be the star in the dressing room. He will be the biggest personality in the dressing room. He's going to put a smile. He's going to change the mood everywhere among the fans and the players and within the entire club. This manager doesn't have that. It doesn't mean he's a bad manager. It doesn't mean he's a bad coach. But for Liverpool at this particular point in time, I think we needed a different type of manager. So that is the little that I will say today. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you are new here, like the video and also click the share button. Comment down below. I'd like to know where you are watching from and also what you make of Liverpool season so far and what you think next season is going to bring. See ya.